The DAW that I'll be using is PreSonus Studio One. I'm going to start setting the hardware driver. So this is the main page once you open the application. If you go to that column, to that middle column right there in the bottom, it says setup. So you click on that, and you could see like the major configurations options that you have. So this is definitely a good time to configure all of that. In this case, I'm going to start off with the hardware driver. So I'm going to set this hardware driver. So you would go over to audio setup and then audio device. I have the PreSonus Fire Studio selected. So sample rate 48. The instructor recommended 128. However, I am going to set the buffer size to 512. And the rest I will move on because it's out of the scope of this class. For the next step, we are going to create a project. So I'll create a new song, which I will call project from now on. Now I'm actually going to use this for an actual project that I want to work on. So I'm going to write the actual name here. Next, I'm going to set the project location. So I go over here to my Windows Explorer, and it's already set, right? So I got my projects, what I call projects, right? So, and here I have, like, if I have Ableton projects, or if I have Cakewalk projects, or whatever other DAW, I'll just have them all here. In this case, I got my Studio One. So I'm going to select this folder, and then over here, going back to the bit depth, here is where you could actually set it, right? So I'm setting it over to 24. So this is the project. All right, so let's create a track. So I'm going to go over to add track over here, and this opened up in my other window again. I'm going to create a track. I'm going to name it Guitar Rhythm. It's going to be a mono. It's going to be a left input for me on my interface, and definitely the output is going to main for now, right, for this basic example. So there's my track, and it's color coded. You can't really see this, but I'm making sure that I'm setting the gain on my interface that it's not, it's actually, I'm setting it to U. Remember, the U means that the actual interface is not really doing anything. It's not decreasing or increasing the input. So before anything, I have to enable the track, and as you could see, the audio, right, coming through. All right, so I'm gonna disable it because I'm not wanting to record. I showed you how to record and enable the track. In order to set the click, so the click in Studio One is called Metronome. So if you look over towards the bottom, towards the right, you're gonna see, if you can see my cursor moving around, it says a metronome, right? So this here, this little triangle here enables the click, and to the side over here, this is actually the pre-count, right? Or the count off. In Studio One, they call it the pre-count. Let's turn this off real quick. I'm gonna click on record. The metronome will start. Okay, I didn't record anything, so I didn't save anything. Now, however, I am going to set the pre-count or the count off, and once it starts, you're gonna hear 4 clicks before the actual recording. So here we go, and there it is. When you export, then you see the option of setting this as a different file formats, right? So you got the WAV, the AIFF files. So you have the different file types right here. What I would do here is go over the song. I'm over at the top left hand of the interface over at in the menu. So I go to click. I go to export mix down. And then after I choose, right, the location and the file name and everything else, I go over to format, and then here I could actually select. As you can see, there are no options for broadcast wave. There are only wave and AIFF. I hope this presentation was useful. Thank you very much for taking the time to review my project. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me.